And welcome to the Confound Millennial. It's apparently sponsored by Pepsi. Welcome to the Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin, Michaels, and featuring Mike Mulé of Sweet Beef PR Agency.
What's up, brother? That was awesome.
Thank you. That's the money maker right there.
That's it, man. That's it. You got to do like wrestling or something, like UFC events.
Yeah, it's funny. I got a guest co-host that comes in every now and then. His last name is literally Diamonds. Oh. And I feel like I'm announcing a wrestler every time I have him on. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Ryan Diamonds.
Yeah, he's got to come out with like the whole suit, like little flares or fireworks or something. That's cool.
But so how are you doing today, man? What's up?
Dude, I'm doing great. Just finished up some work with some clients. Yeah, appreciate you having me on, man. I just, we've gotten to work in the past. You're a great guy, and I just wanted to chat your ear off for a little bit.
Yeah, I've always wondered what it's like on your side of the job, and because I don't really, when I'm talking to PR agents, I try to be as professional as possible, even though my curiosity gets the best of me sometimes. Yeah. And I have no idea what your job is like, but I've always wondered, what is it like?
Well, let's dive in, man. Let's go into it. So I'm relatively new to doing this as a job itself. I started about a year ago under my mentor, Bob Bradley. He does Bradley publicity. So basically how I came into it, I've always done stuff for my band. So I play in a pop punk band and like a more hardcore rock and roll band. Alive and Well and Dot Camera, got to drop them. And I've done all like the booking and all like the get us on podcast playlists, all that stuff with either or. So once the world shut down last year, after my 3-month binge of margaritas for breakfast and dyeing my mullet like Tiger King, I decided to do something about it. It was a wild ride. But yeah, I reached out to my buddy Bob, asking if he needed help, and he took me under his wing and kind of showed me what to do. And I got Sweet Beef going about a month or two ago, and we're just to really answer your question, it's really just talking to people, remembering that each person on the other side of the keyboard is a different person than you, and just being cool and working with people. And of course, making sure like your bands and your clients are happy. But yeah, man, it's been fun. I love it.
I bet it's been fun on my side of things. Earlier this year, I had booked a band that I can't say yet, but they're coming on in August. But cool. And I started throwing that around like a big dick in a locker room to different PR and agents and managers, and ended up a couple of people started liking me, and that's what I owe my us coming to meet to is you probably wouldn't have noticed me if I didn't have the guests that I've been having on, and I wouldn't have them on if I didn't have the balls to try to get a hold of Ronnie Radke's manager. That didn't work out, but but at least I got connected with people that it helped.
Well, and that's the whole thing too. Like, if anybody has any interest in trying this side of music or whatever, just publicity in general, and granted, it's not for everybody, but it is something you can learn. You got to be ready to just take some shots and shoot out an email, and definitely be ready for nothing or a big fat no. And then whatever you do with that, if you let it deter you, it's not for you. If you just walk away unscathed, welcome to the club, But
it's like everything else, like it doesn't really hurt to ask.
Yeah. And just learning how to not be a pest.
As long as you're not like pestering people,
Exactly. Because I've learned that I learned that really quick trying to like playing in our bands that I play with. And you learn real fast who you're pissing off. I'm like, hey man, can I play a show? And they're like, dude, get out of here. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm just excited, But yeah, you
Right.
just gotta learn.
That made me immediately think of there's this one guy that I met at a show and asked him to come on, and he said sure. And I've been asking him since, and he ain't coming on. I,
Yeah,
I
but
ain't gonna stop asking, but he's the only person I'm gonna pester like that.
yeah.
Mainly because I already paid him to do a outro cover of my outro song, and I ain't heard nothing back since.
Well, that's a different thing. If you got money on there, you got to, all right, that's a whole different type of pester.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I would drop the podcast thing, but I was like, all right, man, interest, come on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so how did you had mentioned that you were in a band, pop punk band. How did you transition from that over to doing this? Like, was it just something that came into your mind during COVID, or was it something that you had been thinking about for a while?
Well, I was kind of doing it. All right, so I still play with the band as well. We got some more stuff coming out later on, so be ready. Alive and well, we're coming. But our first EP we put out in 2015 or 16, I forget. But we got a PR agency. They did some stuff with us, and it was cool. But then, like, once I saw what was coming back, I was like, dude, I could do this. Like, we can save money. I'll just do it in house. I was just in the one band at the time, working my bar job. So I'm like, I have plenty of time on my hands. So then I just started reaching out, seeing what I can get on my own. And I just kind of been doing that for a little while. Then joined with the other guys, Doc Hammer. Did the same thing. I booked both bands' tours for the most part. Get us on. I handle like all like the back end stuff that nobody wants to do. I have all the spreadsheets, that kind of stuff. And yeah, then it just kind of like when I started working with Bob and Bradley Publicity, it just like clicked. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And like a lot of like if you talk to any musician, they're like, so you just like to sit there and email all day. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's fun as hell.
It's like one of those things. I'm already doing it, so why not doing it professionally?
Yeah, pretty much, man. And yeah, it's still brand new, but the bands I get to work with are on my end are really fun. So I got to do my buddy Ricky. He plays in a band called Western Settings, as well as a band called Hey Chels. So I got to do his single he just put out. My friend Peter Duff, which you just spoke with him recently. Awesome guy. But
Good guy.
Yeah, I got to do him. And that song's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really happy, sad quarantine song.
I love music where it's like upbeat, happy, you're smiling, you're bobbing your head, and then you're like, this is depressing as shit.
Dude, I love it. I love it. And yeah, actually it comes out later today. They premiered it yesterday, but I'm working with this band called Loose Ends. They're brand new, but they featured guys of Kid Liberty. I don't know if you remember that band from like the 2010s ish. But yeah,
Sadly.
there's 1,000 bands, so you can't know them all. But
I didn't.
We got some fun stuff coming with them. So
the fun thing about me is I didn't really get into music. Like I've always liked music,
yeah.
But I was, and I've mentioned this recently, so bear with me, fans. But I was sheltered as a kid, so I didn't listen to anything but contemporary Christian music until I was 14 or 15.
No shit. All right. Oh, can I say words? What words are not allowed? I'm good again.
Anything that'll get the social justice warriors on me.
We're all good on
that. Man, a couple weeks ago, I had a guy on the show, and he had went on a Facebook rant right before. I was like, should I have this guy on?
Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about, man? Yeah.
But either way, I didn't really discover my own taste in music until these past couple of years now. And it started with a band called Capstan.
Yeah, and they're in Florida, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love those boys. They just dropped a song today. But
No, all right, let's check that out.
but you know, and then worked its way over to from there, like they were my transition from the metal scene, which I was into because of my friends, into what my old roommate classifies as sad boy shit.
Okay. So who's
Uh,
in there? What like who's the sad boy guy?
the home team, in her own
I love,
words, uh,
dude, you ever
American
talk to Joey?
Teen.
You gotta get Joey on this.
What was that?
You ever talk to Joey of in their own words or in her own
It
words?
was, to be honest, it was probably the worst episode I ever did because I was
No.
fangirling so hard. He's going to come back with the band later this year, but he
Yeah,
was like, "You're cool, man. I'll come back. I'll bring the boys. Like, it's fine." I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I was fangirling."
that's awesome. He's such a nice guy.
But
But yes, yeah, I
yeah,
cut you off. I'm sorry. But,
that's the thing is with all these guys that I've talked to, even the angriest sounding metal screamers, they're all the nicest people you've ever met.
dude, I feel like the heavier the band, the nicer the person. You
Yeah.
know, like I've met like some like acoustic alt rock people, and like you go talk to them, and they're just like a dick, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what? You got a headbanging or something, man. I don't know. You got to get it out of you.
And then you get the guy that like you know, he's up on stage. "All right, you motherfucking pussies,
Yeah,
I want you to tear this place apart brick by brick."
yeah,
And
yeah.
afterwards they're like, "Thank you guys. I love you so much. I love everybody that supports us."
Yeah, they have like they buy you a beer and give you their drink tickets. And you're like,
Right.
this is not how it goes. That's awesome. But
Uh,
yeah, I had an interesting path of music myself. So like growing up, like all my friends back home, I was like the one really into music, just like getting into it. And I found all like the radio pop punk, Sum 41, Blink 182, all that stuff. And then I thought I was into hardcore and it was Census Fail. I'm like, yeah, I'm a hardcore kid. And then I went to college and my friends were like, that's not hardcore, man. I'm like, no, it's heavy. And then they played me like Have Heart and like more like the traditional, like straight edge kind of Boston bands. And then my brain exploded. Like, there's all of this. Then I found like all the metal stuff. And yeah, so I'm kind of everywhere, but it's all fun.
oh, I forgot the main sad boy shit is a little band called As It Is. If you've
Yeah.
ever, yeah,
Yeah.
they I recently had their ex bassist and backup singer on, and that was fun. But uh, just sad boy shit, man.
Yeah.
That's that's all I listen to is like, you know, I had a roommate. I recently last year actually, I had an interesting time with COVID myself.
Right.
Not having COVID, but during the times I ended up a homeless alcoholic,
Oh
and
shit.
I took a month and a half in a rehab. And my roommate in the rehab, he would walk in, like I'd be listening to like Knuckle Puck or
Yeah,
As It Is, and he'd be like, "Can we stop slitting our wrists in here for 5 minutes?"
yeah.
Damn, boy.
That's great. I'm like, I need it right now, man. I need it.
Like, I'm feeling my feels, man.
Yeah. That's what it's about. But yeah, you got to switch it up sometimes, because I feel like I've definitely, I grew up like I listen to a lot of that stuff still, but for a time that was like my life. And then eventually, like once you just got to change it up every now and then. Cause
And
like,
like doing the podcast, I've been introduced to so many different bands, so many different genres. And but like really what I mean by finding my own path in music is I thought that I was a metalhead. And
yeah.
by metalhead, I mean the heaviest shit I listened to was Five Finger Death Punch. I
Okay.
was
Hell yeah.
I was the guy that was like, "Oh yeah, I love metal. Five Finger all the way." Yeah.
Yeah. There was, I've had so many weird odd jobs since I moved out here. And there was this whiskey company I worked for a little bit called Cold Cock. I don't even know if they're still around, but we got to do like a knot fest thing And I just like hung out at the tent and like gave out samples and talked to bands or whatever. But like all like the people coming up were like, dude, like I forget who was playing. Hell, is there a band? Hell yeah, I think. Or like
Yeah,
Volbeat, or yeah. And they're like, this is the heaviest shit ever. I'm like, I mean, it's heavy, but like, dude, this is the tip of the iceberg, man. There's so much. But that's the beauty of it. Like, if you're open minded, you just find whatever. There's always more to find, you know.
but like, coming from that sheltered contemporary Christian thing, like I saw a meme yesterday that was so great. It was Spider-Man 3 Peter Parker, and then Peter Parker when he has the black suit and the black hair swooped over,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
before and after being introduced to Skillet and youth group.
yeah. Skillet, hell yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it's just funny. Like, the world is endless with music.
It's kind of, not to go off on different rants here, but they've actually they've changed a lot too. They started as like this Christian rock group, and now they just play worship music.
No
Like
way.
the rock stuff anymore. They just release worship music.
Are they playing like massive churches and all that stuff too?
Yeah. And they're somehow still doing like stuff like
Yeah,
Knotfest and stuff like that too. This is weird guys. I mean, in a good way. I met them once before, like as a radio show was giving away meet and greets at a concert I was at.
yeah.
And it was deep in the middle of my emo phase, and me and the lead singer were switching eyeliner tips.
No way. That's that's awesome. And now they're playing worship stuff. Man.
Yeah. But
Wild.
crazy stuff. So what all like is there how do you decide what bands you're going to work with? Is there a certain style, or is it just as long as they're not shit?
A little bit of both. I mean, I know the heavier stuff and like the pop punk stuff more, just because that's what I've done with my own bands. Um, but like right now, it's still pretty new. So like I'm doing more reach out on my own, and then every now and then, like I'll have somebody reach out to me, and we figure out what we can do. But for the most part, I'll work with you if I like it. Like I don't want to try to sell something that I'm not into. You know,
Right.
I'm not like I hate to, even though it's my job, I'm not going to try that hard. Like if I don't like it, I'm like I want to care about it as much as you do. You know, so
Yeah, that's how I've approached the podcast and having guests on, because like I say to my friends, I'll have anybody on, but
right,
I don't mean that with bands. I mean, like I'll interview, anybody from any kind of job, but like if I'm interviewing a band, I'm not going to get on here and bullshit my fans and say I love it when I don't.
right. Like there's no point in lying. Like, and it's you know you don't have to like piss anybody off. So sometimes you just don't like something. Somebody will, just talk to them. But yeah,
But the only thing like there's been a time or two where I had a band on where it wasn't my cup of tea at first, but by the end of listening to their album, I had like one of the first tracks stuck in my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to them.
yeah, it is funny. And like also too, like going to show, like I mean, I don't know how it is where you're at now, but like once shows can come back, that like you'll hear a band on Spotify or whatever, and you're like, all right, whatever. And then you go see it and like just hits you different.
Mm-hmm.
I've had like a
Right.
couple of bigger like bigger like hardcore scene kind of bands that I was introduced to, just not in person, just like on Spotify. Checked them out. I was like, this is like the same old shit. And then I see them, and like then I see everything in a whole different light because they have a whole live show,
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like we were talking about Capstan a little bit earlier, like listening to them on Spotify versus listening to them in, let's say, the Masquerade in Atlanta.
yeah.
Two completely different things.
Oh, 100%. And then yeah, especially if kids are going nuts and stage diving and shit.
And
It's
I used to be the guy starting the mosh pits and all that at their
yeah,
shows.
that's awesome. Dude, yeah, I don't know. Whenever a show comes back and it's like safe to go to them and stuff, I don't know if I can still do, like I was like always the crowd surf guy. I'm the tiny
Oh,
guy. It's like if I mosh, I knock myself down trying to mosh pit, but I'm always stage dive crowd surf guy.
I'm
But
always the guy putting people up into the crowd.
hell yeah, dude! All right, we'll go one together. We'll make a good tag team, and we'll get your
Oh,
boy Diamond to come in and finish everybody off.
it was actually I was at a Mayday parade show once, and I put up my girlfriend and her sister, and the next thing you know, I had a line of people just lining up, and I
Yeah,
was just putting people up to crowd surf for like 5 minutes.
dude. It's funny. It's funny. Like, yeah, everybody has a part at the show. You need the people that stand in the back. You need the people sweaty and up front. You need the shirtless guys just throwing haymakers, and you need the guy that pops everyone up.
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, it's I miss live music so much, man. I'm hopefully going to Incarceration in Ohio
When is that?
uh September, but it
Okay,
just feels so far away.
dude. Yeah, like I'm supposed to go to Furnace Fest in September in Alabama, and we're me and my now fiance actually, but we're all vaccinated. Our friends are vaccinated. It's still just like a you don't know what's going to happen kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
You
I'm
know,
trying not to get too excited, but I'm also super pumped to go see and sweat and watch people mosh. But only time will tell, brother.
Alabama's a weird state, man.
Yeah, I've never been. I've never had a reason to go.
I've gone one time to do, I had mentioned earlier before we started recording that I'm doing another podcast
Right.
tonight. I went to their first live show. They're called the Seth and Willie Fred Show. It's two guys pretend they're rednecks and play parody country music.
That wait, so Seth and Willie Fred is the other guy. It's one guy, Willie Fred.
No, yeah, Seth and
Okay.
then Fred.
Willie Fred. Cool. I'll check that out. That's
It's
awesome.
I'll send you a link later. It's
Yeah,
some
please.
cool stuff, man. But I drove. I used to live in Georgia. I now live in Kentucky,
Okay.
and uh, when I lived in Georgia, I drove like 6 hours to go to one of their live shows because I was bored one night.
Yeah, dude, might as well. There's something going on somewhere.
I got during that time that I was homeless, I didn't really have much to do. I was living out of my car most of the time. So I went on road trips like every weekend.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in Tennessee, Columbus, a little bit in Alabama. Just didn't really, I've never really got too far out of my hometown until last year.
All right. So what do you think about it? I mean, granted, the world was a whole different world, but was it cool to see some other stuff? Like, did you come back with something?
Yeah, I mean, I came back with the great desire to move far away from my hometown
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I
Now you're
lived in.
talking to the pop punk kids again.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's just you can't stay in your hometown your whole life, especially if you're from, a southern small town. You got to move, man. You got to move.
I feel you. I'm from Pennsylvania, but I'm out here in San Diego now for over 10 years. And it's, I miss everybody so much back home, but it was one of the best things I've ever done. Just kind of dive in head first. I was 23 when I moved out here, like me and a couple friends. Didn't know anybody. And just like, all right, let's not die. Let's see what happens. You know?
That's the goal, isn't it?
No, just don't die. Came close. Came close a couple times, but yeah, don't want to tell all those stories.
I feel that, brother. I feel that. Been been almost carjacked a couple times. It's fun
Yeah.
life, man.
Dude, that's
Dude,
what I'm saying.
I got left in downtown Atlanta by myself at midnight once, and that was, I think, honestly, the most scared I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. You just had to figure out how to get home or what?
Yeah. I actually ended up, none of my friends could go get me. So I called my best friend, Jarrett, and his car was in the shop. So he called his cousin.
Uh-huh.
His cousin drove from North Carolina
No
3
shit.
hours down to Atlanta to get me. And I was going in to different shops and stuff, and I didn't want to be kicked out for loitering. So I was buying like drinks at Starbucks and stuff. And
Yeah.
they kept closing before they got there. And I was quickly running out of gas money to give this fucker that was on his way down.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I've never had anything quite like that, but I remember like one of the first times we like went out of here. There's like some party bus or whatever. And there's like this party beach area. It's called Pacific Beach, and we were living in downtown at the time. I didn't know anywhere like where I was at all. I just hop in this car, we go, and I guess I missed. I think we missed the bus, and we end up just partying at some kid's house. And I went outside for some reason. Like somebody got in a fight with somebody. Whatever. I'm trying to like put out a fire, and I just got lost, and my phone died, and I'm just lost, hanging around, just walking around.
And speaking of
And
that, like the town I used to be in, very mountainous place, lots of hiking areas. And I went up one Thanksgiving, like my family went out of town. I had nothing else to do. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go hike this mountain.
yeah.
And I was up there way longer than I expected. And on my way back, it got dark and my phone was dead and I didn't have a flashlight.
Oh no, dude.
So it's just me, I was a much more fit man back then. Just me darting through the woods straight downhill, just hoping I find the parking lot when I get to the bar.
Gotta get out, dude. But like those experiences make you like, I don't know, you grow or like whatever the cliche is, but like, you just come out different. You're like, dude, that was crazy. And then you got fun stories from,
And I assume, I don't have kids, but I assume that that's the kind of things that give people anxiety about having teenagers.
Yeah.
It's thinking about the crazy shit that they got into when they were kids.
It's funny, like I'm at the age now where like I'll be hanging out with my parents, we're all like drinking a beer or whatever, and I'll tell a story, and they're like, "What did that? So that's what really happened?" I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, what did I tell you when I was 16?" You know what I mean? I'm pushing mid 30s now, so like whatever. But yeah, it was just funny. They're like, I'm really happy I didn't say that before. Like when you were that age, just, save some gray hairs. But
go on a rant or something for a second. I have no idea what happened, but my my monitor just cut off. So I might not speak for a second.
All good. Yeah, I can talk about whatever. I can tell you some fun tour stories. I think, yeah. So the pop punk band, the first tour that we went on, we just went up the coast. So I actually got the poster here. We started in Lake Forest and then went up to San Jose was the furthest and came back down to San Diego. But one of the first shows we played in LA was a house show, and it was Common Ground Records, but I think they're just Common Ground Management now. I don't know, some artist agency. We played their house, and I don't know, like out of nowhere, I'm on top of the roof, just headbanging, and like everybody's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "We're on tour, man. Let's do it. Let's get nuts." So yeah, that band's had a lot of fun. We got to play Emo Night LA, but that one was weird because like me and Matt, he's the singer guitarist. We're usually like we have our setup on stage. We had to flop it for that show for some reason. So I'm headbanging. He's like doing like this guitar thing and just clocks me dead in the center of the head at Emo Night LA, like probably the biggest show we played at the time. And I'm just seeing stars, and like he looks over, just like mouths like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Just keep going, keep going. We'll deal with it later." And it was fine. Like a little nick, nothing big.
That sounds wonderful,
dude. It was like, I don't know. I love it. I get hurt often. That shows.
Like, I love those moments in life where you're at a party or you're just doing something, and the next thing you know, you're like, I don't know what the hell is going on, but we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it live. Well, then that's the other thing. Bringing it back to the PR stuff, like just having my experiences, I can get like a characteristic or like a feel for the band I'm working with. So sometimes like the band, like you talk to them and they work so hard on the album or the song. The last thing they want to do is like write out the story and pitch it or whatever. So like that's my job. So like I'll get a feel for everybody. I'll send over like my first like drafted email. Like, is this kind of like what you're going for? And for the most part, they're like, dude, that's exactly it. And then, we go from there and I get them on like the right podcast they want to talk to, the right playlisting things, the right media outlets. I don't know. I just love, dude, I love the back end stuff, which is weird. I love the front end too. I love, the 30 to 45 minutes of banging heads and, having people pour beer in my mouth and all that stuff. But yeah,
But
we're not going to do that anytime soon with COVID wrapping up, but
right. Just things are going to change with live shows, man. I'm excited for them to come back, but I'm nervous about what they're going to look like.
Dude, like did you see that Mad Ball? What's that?
Can you have a mosh pit post-COVID?
That's what I was just going to say, dude. Like that band Madball played in New York like a little bit ago, and it was outdoors, but it was just a hardcore show. Like there people grabbing the mic and like biting it for the most part. And like now, like, last in 2019, I'd be like, hell yeah, give me the mic. And now I'm like, ugh, spray it down with sanitizer, But I mean, yeah, give it a like probably this time next year, I'll be right back in it. But
oh yeah. I'd love to have you on again with some of your band members as well to talk about your band more too.
I do, definitely. I mean, both of the bands are working on stuff. So once we have stuff, let's get it going. We'll talk about it all.
That's what I hate, man, is waiting on bands to get their stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I love like I get so excited when I get, sometimes, when I like a band, I'll reach out to them personally. And I love whenever I get a response from that, but they're like, yeah, we're coming out with an album 6 months. Don't tell anybody. We'll come on then. And I'm like, oh, come on now.
Yeah, I'm ready now. I hit you up now. I'm ready now. Yeah. But it's good because they know what they're doing. Because if they come on, they don't have anything to say. They're just like, yeah, I can't really talk about it. But like once you get past that 6 months, like, all right, we're in whatever. Here's how the riff came out, and there's a whole story to tell.
I think that's kind of what my problem was with the In Her Own Words episode I had. They didn't really have anything going on, and I didn't have anything to ask about.
Oh yeah, so you're just kind of politely nodding at each other.
Yeah, that was it. Like there was obviously like a lot of stuff in the past, that they had done, but like I don't always. One of my main things about this podcast is I don't want to ask questions that you could listen or figure out on another podcast before me.
No, dude, that's brilliant. It makes,
because I think if somebody is listening to a podcast of a band that they like, they have listened to other podcasts of a band that they like.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to hear the same thing over and over just with a different voice. So you got to approach it from your own standpoint.
Dude, and that's even like going into my world, you're always trying to get like either podcasts or like the email interviews. But it's our job as like the publicist to like hopefully get a different type of interview and not just like the same, here's like the stock 10 questions. I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, but
right.
You got to be as creative as the band, and then they appreciate you for that, and then they'll come back and work with you. So that's like the whole thing about it. I mean, it's not rocket science to do like the PR stuff. I mean, all the information's out there. It's just a matter of building the rapport and like the network with who's on the other side. So, I might have a better shot at helping somebody out than they do on their own just because I know the people they're trying to talk to. So it's fun. It's fun for me, easy for them. It's hectic as hell, dude. Google Calendar is my best friend. I love that thing.
Dude, I'm so old school. Like the show's called the Confound Millennial because I'm not good at being a millennial.
Right.
Well, really, I had an old boss that used to call me that instead of dropping GD. He was a deacon of a church, and he'd cuss me out 7 ways from Sunday. then talk to me about Jesus, and then be like, I'm tired of these confound millennials.
That's no shit. That's where you got it from?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And last I heard, he actually heard about the show, and he's like, he's going to make millions off of my catchphrase.
You should talk to him. You should bring him on.
Oh, I don't think he would like that at all. I should, though. That would be an interesting
conversation. Do it for like the 50th or 100th episode, or like whatever, something big.
Oh, yeah. Actually, our next milestone coming up is 200.
You know, you're at 200. Oh, yeah. What is it? You're on season 3 right now? Is that this?
Yeah. See, the way I divide it up is every season is a year, and some podcasts just do it continuously, numbers. Yeah. But I wanted to differentiate myself. Like season 1, if you listen to that, we sucked. We didn't know what we were doing. We were rocking it out on a Guitar Hero mic.
Yeah, dude.
We were just practicing. Season 2, we started figuring out what we're doing. Season 3, all of it's on YouTube. I actually edit this stuff. Like, we know decently okay, and I'm sure next year we're going to be even better. So,
well, dude, that's what I like. If you care about something, you progress with it, you know.
Oh yeah, like if I was still doing it the way we were doing it, you know, month 1, month 2, I'd been run off the internet by now.
Well, keep doing cool shit, brother. That's what it's all about, man.
You too, and thank you for reaching out to me, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. You got any last words to say to anybody out there?
I got a catchphrase these days. It's the world will suck forever. You don't have to. So just do some cool shit. If your band needs some help, hit me up at mike@sweetbeefagency.com. And hope to see you guys on the road and at a show, man.
All right. And this has been The Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin Michaels and featuring Mike Mulé of Sweet Beef Agency.